we have an updated preview of Shenmue, a title that takes game realism and interactivity to a whole new level. And we have a review of Ultima 9 Ascension. Origin has hailed it as the last single-player game in a long-running series. Is it only for fans? And join Surge and a whole new cast of adventurers as we preview Square's Chrono Cross, a long-awaited follow-up to the 16-bit SNES RPG Chrono Trigger. Stick around. It's game time. Hello and welcome to this edition of Gamespot TV. I'm Adam Sessler. Now, recently, Computer Gaming World and Electronic Gaming Monthly held Game Blast 2000, an event to recognize the best PC and console titles and the most talented game designers of 1999. Gamespot TV went out for a night on the town to find out who won the coveted awards. So, what do you do when you have too many fun games to play in just 1 year? Well, you have an award show. So CGW and EGM got together to give us Game Blast to honor the best games that were around in 1999. I'm joined here by Joe Funk, editorial director at EGM. So what's your assessment of console games from 1999?
Well, 1999 was the biggest year we've seen yet in the video game industry, and there's tons of great games coming out, and we're here tonight to celebrate the best games that did come out.
Role-playing game of the year, Final Fantasy VIII by Square EA. Fighting game of the year, Soul Calibur by Namco.
Nightmare was seriously wounded, but the soul still burns.
You know, trophies aside, I'm really here for the marzipan niblets. Ooh, fudge. We're joined now by George Jones, editor-in-chief of Computer Gaming World. It's good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
Now, how do you assess the 1999 year in PC gaming?
Very good, very good. Typically, over the course of a year, there's one game that kind of stands out head and shoulders above the rest. This year, 3. So we're sitting here, trying to figure out which is the best game, and it was really a difficult task this year. Racing Game of the Year, Need for Speed High Stakes by Electronic Arts. Sports Game of the Year, High Heat 2000 by 3DO.
There's a liner to center field.
So, what does it take to choose the game of the year? Well, for example, CGW started with 90 games and set up a lab so that they could replay them all. Then they whittled it down to a nice 15. But even from that point, it wasn't that easy. And Pokemon, what is the
I have to go like
essence?
this. I have to go like this if Pokemon's on the camera. Pokemon is at its core, Pokemon is a really strong, old-school role-playing game. And I have these little cute Pokemon that you collect and all that, but at its core, it is a great game. A game that I think a lot of PC role-playing game makers could really learn a couple of lessons from. And I'm not just saying that.
No, I believe you. I believe you, George.
The winner for Game of the Year on the PC platform is Unreal Tournament.
All right, I'm here with James, Cliff, and Tim from Digital Extremes and Epic Games, the people behind Unreal Tournament, the Game of the Year. Well-deserved, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So, has this been something of a surprise to you, like the huge reception that Unreal Tournament's gotten?
In the back of our heads, we're all deeply hoping for it, and having it happen is kind of a fruition of all our dreams, I think.
It did turn out to be a surprise, though. We knew it was good, but we were, and especially this tonight, getting this, we were just really blown away. We honestly didn't expect it.
So, with the new console system and online gaming at the helm of this year's award show, it's a good indication of what we can expect in the years to come. So take my advice. Save your pennies. You're gonna need them. If you'd like more info on Game Blast 2000 awards, then come to our website where you'll find a complete list of award winners, as well as our spotlight feature and streaming video. And if you want to know what happened backstage, come to our chat session Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I'll tell you all about it. But now, let's check the game news. Lover or loather, Lara Croft is coming to the Dreamcast. Sega announced that Eidos Interactive will ship Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation for the new console system in the spring of 2000. Sega also announced that Lara will be remodeled in the new Dreamcast version and that she will be displayed in high resolution to match the game's lavish environments. You wonder exactly what that means. In other console news, Sony announced that it's offering replacement discs of Gran Turismo 2 for those who purchased early production copies. The earlier discs angered gamers who were confronted with gameplay bugs. Sony says that the latest batch of Gran Turismo 2 discs are free from technical problems. And if Mac gamers are feeling left out, they are soon to have a title to keep them glued to their machines for hours upon hours. Westlake Interactive has announced that the Mac version of Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri has gone gold. If you're looking for the latest news from the gaming world, go to the Gamespot.com website. Coming up on Gamespot TV, we have a review of what Origin has said will be the last single-player game in the series. We review Ultima 9 Ascension and find ourselves a little disappointed. And we have a preview of Chrono Cross, the long-awaited RPG from Square. Welcome back. Now, the Ultima series has a long role-playing history on the PC, including its relatively recent online version. But now the final single-player game of the series is on the shelves. So let's look at the swan song, Ultima 9 Ascension. Ultima 9 Ascension is one of the most important games to be released in years. It's not only the first installment in half a decade of the Ultima series proper, but it's also the final game in the highly respected, long-running line of role-playing games.
The final battle for the destiny of Britannia.
Origin has also announced that Ultima 9 will be the last single-player game it will ever release. There is also more at stake because the last Ultima incarnation abandons the series' traditional top-down perspective in favor of a third-person, fully 3D engine. Fans of the series will find that the new perspective is mostly unobtrusive, and the 3D interface for jumping and climbing is quite effective. Ultima 9 looks so good that its sacrifice of performance for the sake of quality is almost worthwhile. However, the game does have a few problems. The voice acting in Ultima 9 is terrible.
Who's there? Please help us.
Almost every character speaks in an awful accent that trivializes the game's premise and the characters themselves.
Lord British has always been a music lover.
Even the avatar's voice sounds inappropriate with its deadpan delivery.
Thanks for the information. Goodbye.
The dialogue is not the only problem in the game. The combat system is totally inept. You draw your weapon and hammer the left mouse button as quickly as you can, which wouldn't be so bad if the game did a decent job of giving you some visual feedback. In addition, dodging your enemies is completely impossible. Ultima 9 comes across as an epic and a farce. You'll try to take it seriously as you play because the game's beautiful scenery and grave situations demand it. But the game doesn't want to be as serious as it thinks it is. Greg Kasavan gives Ultima 9 Ascension a rating of 6.3 out of 10.
Excuse me? What did you say?
If you notice those performance problems with Ultima 9, and how could you not, you should note that that was played on a P3 500 with a Voodoo 3 and the packs downloaded. Something to note if you're interested in picking up the game. And speaking of performance problems, the Dukes of Hazzard games got plenty of that, and not even real short shorts can save it. It should have been one of the easiest games to make. Take the Great Hicks and Car Chases TV show and make a mission-based driving game out of it. Hence, the Dukes of Hazzard Racing for Home could have been an outstanding game, but it's simply too buggy and easy to succeed. The game's story is told by pre-rendered cutscenes that are cast with lifeless Android TV lookalikes. The game moves from plot point to plot point until it jumps back in time to tell a new story with a villain. It doesn't work. The AI driving in the game is simply terrible. While the cops will ram the General Lee, they spend most of their time driving into walls over and over again. Other bugs are prevalent throughout the game, like a truck that will amazingly warp ahead of you when you pass it. Also, the analog control is frequently disabled between levels. While the game looks fairly solid graphically, there are some seams and glitchy polygons that appear on the side of the screen. The game does run at a decent speed, and music, mostly new, fits in nicely with the overall spirit of the TV show. The development of this game switched hands shortly before completion, and they were probably instructed to make sure the game didn't lock up so it could make it to the stores before the holidays. With more polish, it could have been fun. As it stands, it's way too buggy and too easy to stay fun for long. Jeff Gertzman from VideoGames.com gives it a 4.9 out of 10. Roadster's Trophy for the N64 is also not one of the best racing games out there. In fact, it's really more of a rental than a purchase. But there are some cheat codes for the game that make it a lot more fun. So here are a few. Roadster's Trophy for the N64 is more hidden than on the surface. With these next cheats, you may find there's more to the game than you thought. Here are some codes to get you moving. If you enter the codes correctly, you'll hear, "Congratulations."
Congratulations!
If you're looking for a bird's eye view, rename any character Chopper at the character selection screen, and you'll get a helicopter view. If you think the Force is with you, then rename any character Skywalker at the character selection screen, and you'll get to play in a hovercraft car. And finally, if you need some extra gripping action, then rename any character Big Wheels at the character selection screen, and you'll get extra big tires. If you want more codes, come to the Game Help section of the Gamespot TV website. There you'll find codes and strategies for all the latest games, including Roadster Trophy. And while you're there, find out how to send us a V-mail. You can send tips, cheats, or a quick review of your favorite game. And if we use your V-mail on the show, we'll send you a Gamespot TV t-shirt. That way, you can be cool. Coming up on Gamespot TV, we have an updated preview of Shenmue, a Dreamcast title which is taking game realism to new depths. And we have a look at the long-awaited follow-up of the SNES RPG Chrono Trigger. Square has released Chrono Cross in Japan, and we have the preview. Welcome back. If you like games that twist your brain, then this next title may be of interest to you. It's Shanghai Second Dynasty, and here's the review. Activision Shanghai Second Dynasty is the second helping of its 3-year-old predecessor, Shanghai Dynasty. And though it has a few new tile sets, a number of new layouts, and some new game modes, it probably won't seem like much of a value to those who already own Shanghai Dynasty. But for those not yet familiar with the Shanghai PC game series, Second Dynasty's colorful graphics, soothing music, and encompassing array of both Mahjong and Shanghai variants are reason enough to recommend it to enthusiasts of either or both tile-based games. Second Dynasty includes 2 main sets of games, the age-old Chinese tile game Mahjong, and the equally venerable tile-matching game played with Mahjong tiles, Shanghai. Second Dynasty offers a number of variations on each game, and every single one of the previous game's modes of play, including Classic, Arcade, and Kids Shanghai. Those who don't own the previous game should find that Second Dynasty is worth putting in your puzzle library. Andrew Seyoon Park of Gamespot.com gives Shanghai Second Dynasty a 7.1 out of 10. Now, Tomba was a surprise hit of 1998 with its 2D platform gameplay in an increasingly 3D world. Well, the game is back. It's a little less 2D, but it still has pigs. Tomba 2 is pretty much the same game as before, but this time it sports more quests and a spiffy new 3D engine. Once again, the pigs are back, and this time they've kidnapped Tomba's childhood friend. So Tomba's there to stop them with his curious technique of fighting pigs while solving a panoply of puzzles and performing numerous fetch quests along the way. The game is once again an unusual hybrid of the platform and adventure genres. Along with bagging pigs, there's 137 quests to perform. While moving through the game world, Tomba can talk to characters and perform curious tasks. While the perspective to the game is less 2D, the game still controls like a 2D game. Tomba moves along a 2D path until he is prompted to switch to a new path when it intersects. On the whole, the camera and perspective are excellent, but there are the inevitable moments when jumps are made harder than they should be. The game does have a few minor problems. Some of the less necessary puzzles are downright difficult, and the number of quests you can run into in a short time can feel overwhelming. The graphics in the game are some of the best for the PlayStation right now, making the game feel like a 3D animated cartoon. The camera pans smoothly, and there are few signs of typical 3D issues. Tomba 2 may be repackaging of the original game, but it's a slick and refined job. Fans of the original are in for a treat. Peter Bartholow of VideoGames.com gives it an 8.4 out of 10. What exactly does he do to those pigs? Well, you probably heard us here at Gamespot TV wax poetic about Shenmue, and it doesn't look like we're going to be stopping anytime soon. We got our hands on an import copy of the first chapter of the game, and of course I couldn't understand a thing, but it sure looked good. Long seen as a standout game for the Dreamcast since the beginning, Shenmue's first chapter has finally made it into the hands of Japanese Dreamcast owners, allowing us another look at this title. The game begins on November 26, 1986, with Ryo Hazuki's father being murdered by an evil and powerful martial artist who also lifts a mysterious jade medallion. Ryo then leaves his high school existence for revenge against the assailant and slowly uncovers a vast international conspiracy. As you have probably heard, the official genre for Shenmue is free, standing for Full Reactive Eyes Entertainment, something we all can call an adventure game. You guide Ryo through his hometown of Yozuka, solve puzzles, and probe the populace for information. The environments themselves in the game are virtually like games in themselves, as they offer endless drawers to open, trinkets to buy, and things to play with. The game also has action sequences called quick-time events, which are reminiscent of Dragon's Lair by testing your reflexes when prompting you to tap a button. The game is designed to be very accessible and hasn't been found to be all that difficult. If you fail to succeed in a battle, there are an unlimited number of retries available. Even if you know how much money it costs to produce this game, you can't help but be impressed with its production value. It's hard to imagine many other games looking this good. The world is massively detailed and seamlessly integrated with very delicate modeling and texture everywhere. The sound is equally as impressive, both with the musical soundtrack and the fact that everything in the game has a unique sound associated with it. The game is set to arrive in the US this year, and it's recommended that players wait for the domestic version unless they have a good handle on Japanese. Some who have tried it bemoan the absence of Chapter 2, but regardless, a technological marvel is on its way to the Dreamcast. If you'd like to revisit Ryo's adventures in the Kanagawa province, come to the Gamespot TV website where you'll find the streaming video of Shenmue. And while you're at our site, stop by the Gamespot TV message boards and discuss your thoughts about this upcoming game. Coming up on Gamespot TV, we have the preview of Square's Chrono Cross. The long-awaited follow-up to Chrono Trigger is sure not to disappoint fans and newbies alike. Plus, we grind a few rails with cheat codes for the excellent skateboarding title, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Welcome back. This next game has generated many an email asking for a look. It's another RPG from Square. It's a sequel to a SNES game. It's going to make you all stop asking me to preview it, right? All right, now that that's settled, here's Chrono Cross. Chrono Trigger for the SNES has been a favorite for RPG fans since its debut. Using a dream team of designers from Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, and Dragon Ball Z, the game has provoked cries for a sequel ever since. Well, one is coming. And while the presence of only one designer from the original and the prominence of new characters instead of the old ones has made many skeptical, its perfect score for the import from Andrew Vessel from VideoGames.com should allay those anxieties. The story focuses around the hero Surge, who was thrust into a parallel world where he had died under mysterious circumstances a decade earlier, and teams up with a rowdy adventurer Kid to seek out the frozen flame that lets the user reshape time and space at will. Suffice to say that that's the bare bones plot, and with 40 playable characters, you can imagine it gets pretty intricate. One of the interesting elements in the game is a battle system that dispenses with the active time bar and replaces it with stamina points that determine your possible attacks. Also, the battles are pseudo-real-time, with characters and enemies capable of taking turns at any time. Also of note is that battles are visible on screen before they occur and can be left at any time during the encounter, including boss battles. Perhaps the nicest element is that players have the option to heal at the end of a battle by having the game dig through available inventory and spells. Although the game is in Japanese, it has been noted by those fluent that the text is surprisingly unique and no generic, assorted party member speech is evident. Let's hope that the translators are up to the challenge. Graphically, the game is a stunner. Different from Final Fantasy VIII, it offers a more gritty, organic feel. You're allowed to explore every nook and cranny of all the environments. With its flagship Final Fantasy series getting the lion's share of the attention at Square, Chrono Cross's developers have apparently been left to themselves and have captured the spirit of the 16-bit RPG. How will it be when it finally crosses the Pacific? You'll have to wait until later this year. This week, our intro comes from Planescape Torment. The game has well-written dialogue, an intriguing plot, and one perplexing lead character. So that makes the game one well worth checking out. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was one of the hottest titles on the PlayStation last year. With excellent gameplay and tons of moves, this title is a must-have, especially if you're into skating yourself. So here's some codes to get you even more replay value. If you want to do outstanding tricks right away without having to build up your special meter, then this cheat code will get you grinding. To have your special meter always full, pause the game, then hold L1 and press X, triangle, circle, down, up, right. If you enter the code right, the pause screen will shake. If you're impatient for more and want to see everything straight away, enter this next code to unlock all the levels, FMV sequences, extra characters, and more. Pause the game, then hold L1 and press circle, right, up, down, circle, right, up, square, triangle. From here, you can even entice Officer Dick out of the donut shop. Lastly, if you want to play as a scantily clad Private Carrera who has full stats and great specials, start a game in any mode with Officer Dick. Pause the game, then hold L1 and press triangle, up, circle, up, left, triangle. Exit the game and return to the character selection screen. Private Carrera will appear in place of Officer Dick. If you're looking for more Tony Hawk Pro Skater codes, you'll find them at the videogames.com website. And if you want to see Officer Dick shredding it all over again, come to the Gamespot TV website and watch him in Private Carrera in streaming video. And while you're there, take our No Fear downhill mountain bike racing quiz for your chance to win a copy of the game and a Rincon mountain bike. You can find more details on the contest at our website. So that's it for now. So until next week, bye-bye.
Thanks for the information.